Hey everyone, welcome back. It's day 6, reading for 30 minutes every single day. I'm in the OG setup because my posture is terrible and my back hurts, my neck hurts. So we're just gonna stick to the basics. It's 8:20 a.m. and I for some reason just wasn't in the mood to read, but you gotta do what you gotta do. So let's just get straight to it. God damn. Okay. Your brother wasn't no smart ass, George Dussett yelled. Frick you, I yelled and ran like the hell down the road. I heard the screen door bang open like a gunshot and his bull roar came after me. If you ever come in here again, I'll fat your lip for you punk. I ran until I was over the first hill, scared and laughing to myself, my heart beating out of try a trip hammer pulse in my chest. Then I slowed to a fast walk, looking back over my shoulder every now and then to make sure he wasn't going to take after me in his car or anything. He didn't. And pretty soon I got to the dump gate. I put the bag inside my shirt, climbed the gate, and monkeyed down the other side. I was halfway across the dump area when I saw something I didn't like. Milo Pressman's porthole 56 Buick was parked behind his tar paper shack. If Milo saw me, I was going to be in a world of hurt. As yet there was no sign of either him or the infamous chopper, but all at once the chain link fence at the back of the dump seemed very far. I found myself wishing I'd gone around the outside, but I was now too far into the dump to want to turn around and go back. If Milo saw me climbing the dump fence, I'd probably be in Dutch when I got home, and that didn't scare me as much as Milo yelling from Chopper to Sickwood. Scary violin music started to play in my head. I kept putting one foot in front of the other, trying to look casual, trying to look as if I belonged here with a paper grocery sack poking out of my shirt, heading from fence between dump and the railroad tracks. I was about 50 feet from the fence and just beginning to think that everything was going to be all right after all when I heard Milo shout, "Hey! Hey, you, kid! Get away! Frickin' fence! Get out of here!" The smart thing to have done was to have been to just agree with the guy and go around. But then I was so keyed that instead of doing the smart thing, I just broke for the fence with a wild yell, my sneakers kicking up dirt. Vern, Teddy, and Chris came out of the underbush on the other side of the fence and started anxiously through the chain link. You, come back here, Milo bawled. Come back here, I'll sick your dog on you, goddammit. I did, I did not exactly find that to be the voice of sanity and and consolation, and I ran even faster for the fence, my arms pumping, the brown grocery bag crackling against my skin, Teddy starting to laugh his idiotic, crodling laugh, ee hee 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 hee, into the air like some reed instrument being played by a lunatic. Go, Gordy, go, Vern screamed, and Milo yelled, Sick him, Chopper, go get him, boy. I threw the bag over the fence and Vern elbowed Teddy out of the way to catch it. Behind me, I could hear Chopper shaking the ground, blurting fire out of one distended nostril and ice out of the other, dripping sulfur from his champing jaws. I threw myself halfway up the fence, with one leap screaming. I made it to the top in no more than 3 seconds, and I simply leaped. I never thought about it, never even looked down to see what I might land on. What I almost landed on was Teddy, and who was doubled over laughing like crazy. His glasses had fallen off and tears were streaming out of his eyes. I missed him by inches and hit the clay gravel embankment just to his left. At the same instant, Chopper hit the chain link fence behind me and let out a howl of mingled pain and disappointment. I turned around, holding one skinned knee, and got my first look at the famous Chopper, and my first lesson in the vast difference between myth and reality. Instead of some huge hellhound with red, savage eyes and teeth juttering out his mouth like straight pipes from a from a hot rod, I was looking at a medium-sized mongrel dog that was perfectly common black and white. He was yapping and jumping fruitlessly, going on his back legs to paw the fence. Teddy was now strutting up and down in front of the fence, twaddle- twiddling his glasses in one hand and inciting Chopper to even greater rage. Kiss my ass, Choppy, Teddy invited, spittle flying from his lips. Kiss my ass, bite. Shit. He bumped his fanny against the chain link fence, and Chopper did his level best to take Teddy up on his invitation. He got nothing from his pains but a good healthy nose bump. He began to bark crazily, foam flying from his snot. Teddy kept bumping his rump against the fence, and Chopper kept lunging at it, always missing, doing nothing but racking out his nose, which was now bleeding. Teddy kept exhorting him, calling him by somehow grisly, diminutive Choppy, and Chris and Vern were lying weakly on the embankment, laughing so hard that they could now do little more than wheeze. And here came Milo Pressman, dressed in sweat-stained fatigues and a New York giant baseball cap, his mouth drawn down in distracted anger. Here, here, he was yelling, you boys stop teasing that dog. You hear me? Stop it right now. Bite it, Choppy, Teddy yelled, strutting up and down on the side of the fence like a mad Prussian reviewing his troops. Come on and sick me, sick me. Chopper went nuts. I mean it sincerely. He ran around in a big circle, yelping and barking and foaming, rare feet spewing up tough little dry clods. He went around about 3 times, getting his courage up, I guess, and then he launched himself straight at this security fence. He might have been going 30 miles an hour when he hit it. I kid you not, his doggy lip were stretched back from his teeth, and his ears were flying in the slipstream. The whole fence made a low musical sound as the chain link was not just driven back against the post when sort of a stretched back. It was like a zither note yim. A strangled yap or yop came out of Chopper's mouth. Both eyes came up blank, and he did a totally amazing reverse snap roll, landing on his back with a solid thump that sent dust puffing up around him. He just lay there for a minute, and then he crawled off with his tongue hanging crookedly from the left side of his mouth. At this, Milo himself went almost berserk with rage. His complexion darkened to a scary plum color. Even his scalp was purple under the short hedgehog bristles of his flat top haircut. Sitting stunned in the dirt, both knees of my jeans torn out and my heart still thudding from the nearness of my escape. I thought that Milo looked like a human version of Chopper. I know you, Milo raved. You're Teddy Duchamp. I know all of you. Sonny, I'll beat you, teasing my dog like that. Like to see you try. Teddy raved back. Let's see you climb over this fence and get me. What? What did you call me? Teddy screamed happily. Lard bucket, tub of guts. Come on, come on. He was jumping up and down, fist clenched, sweating from his hair. Teach you to sick your stupid dog on people. Come on, like to see you try. You little tin weasel, Peckerwood loony son. I'll see your mother I'll see your mother gets an invitation to go down and talk to the judge in the court about what you've done to my dog. What did you call me? Teddy asked hoarsely. He had stopped jumping up and down. His eyes had gone huge and glassy, and his skin was the color of lead. Milo had called Teddy a lot of things, but he was able to go back and get the one that had struck home with no trouble at all. Since then, I have noticed again and again what a genius people have for that, for finding the loony button down inside and not just pressing it but hammering on the. Your dad was a loony, he said, grinning. Loony up in Togus, that's what. Crazier than a shithouse rat, crazier than a buck with tickwood fever, nuttier and long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs, loony. No wonder you're acting like the way you are, with a loony for a. Your mother blows dead rats, Teddy screamed. And if you call my dad a loony again, I'll kill you. I'll kill you, you cocksucker. Loony, Milo said smugly. He'd found the button all right. Looney's kid, Looney's kid. Your father's got toys in the attic, kid. Tough break. Vern and Chris had been getting over this their laughing fit, perhaps getting ready to appreciate the seriousness of the situation and called Teddy off. But when Teddy told Milo that his mother blew dead rats, they went back into hysterics again, lying there on the bank, rolling from side to side, their feet kicking, holding their bellies. No more, Chris said weakly. No more, please, no more. I swear to God, I'm gonna bust. Chopper was walking around in a large dazed figure eight behind Milo. He looked like the losing fighter about 10 seconds after the ref had ended the match and awarded the winner a TKO. Meanwhile, Teddy and Milo continued their discussion of Teddy's father. Standing nose to nose with the wire fence, Milo was too old and too fat to climb between them. Don't you say nothing else about my dad. My dad stormed the beach at Normandy, you freaking wet end. Yeah, well, where is he now, you ugly little four-eyed turd? He's up to Togus, ain't he? He's up to Togus because he went freaking Section 8. Okay, that's it, Teddy said. That's it. That's the end. I'm gonna kill you. He threw himself over the fence and started up. You come on and try it, you slimy little bastard. Milo stood back, grinning and waiting. No, I shouted. I got to my feet, grabbed Teddy by the loose seat of the jeans, and pulled him off the fence. We both staggered back and fell over on top. He smashed my balls pretty good and I groaned. Nothing hurts like having your balls squashed, you know what? But I kept my arms locked around Teddy's middle. Let me up, Teddy sobbed, riding in my arms. Let me up, Gordy. Nobody ranks up my old man. Let me up. God damn it, let me up. That's just what he wants, I shouted in his ear. He wants to get you over there and beat the piss out of you and then take you to the chops. Huh? Teddy craned and around to look at me, his face dazed. Never mind your smout marth, kid, Milo said, advancing to the fence with his hands curled into ham-sized fists. Let him fight his own battles. Sure, I said. You only weigh him for 500 pounds. I know you two, Milo said ominously. Your name's LeChance. He pointed to where Vern and Chris were finally picking themselves up, still breathing fast from laughing so hard. And those guys are Chris Chambers and one of those is Stupid Tessio's kids. All your fathers are going to get calls from me except for the loony up to Togus. You'll go to the formatory, every one of you. Juvenile delinquents. He stood flat on his feet, big freckled hands held out like a guy who wanted to play. One potato, two potato, breathing hard, eyes narrow, waiting for us to cry or say we were sorry, or giving him Teddy so he could feed Teddy to Chopper. Ah! Chris made an O out of his thumb and index finger and spat nearly through it. Vern hummed and looked at the sky. Teddy said, "Come on, Gordy, let's get away from this asshole before I puke." "Oh, you're gonna get it, you foul-mouthed little whoremaster. Wait till I'll get you to the corn stable." We heard what you said about his father, I told him. We're all witnesses. And you sick the dog on me. That's against the law. Milo looked a trifle uneasy. You were trespassing. The hell I was. The dump's public property. You climbed the fence. Sure I did, after you sicked your dog on me. I said, hoping that Milo would recall that I'd also climbed the gate to get in. What'd you think I was gonna do? Stand there and let him rip me into pieces? Come on, you guys, let's go. It stinks around here. Formatory, Milo promised hoarsely, his voice shaking. Formatory for you wise guys. Can't wait to tell the cops how you called a war vet on a frickin' loony. Chris called back on his shoulder as we moved away. What did you do in war, Mr. Pressman? None of your damn business, Milo shrieked. You hurt my dog. Put it in Put it on your TS slip and send it to Chaplin, Vern muttered. And then we all climbed the railroad embankment again. Come back here, Milo shouted. But his voice was fainter now, and he seemed to be losing interest. Teddy shot him the finger as we walked away. I looked back over my shoulder when we were going to the top of the embankment. Milo was standing right behind the security fence, a big man in baseball cap, with his dog sitting beside him. His fingers were hooked through the small chain link diamonds as he shouted at us, and all at once I felt sorry for him. He looked like the biggest third grader in the world, locked inside the playground by mistake, yelling for someone to come and let me out. He kept on yelling for a while, and then he either gave up or we just got out of range. No more was seen or heard of Milo Pressman and Chopper that day. I'm gonna go to the washroom. BRB. Alright, and we are back. Wait, hold up. How long is this chapter? Oh, it's short. Okay. There was some kind of discussion in righteous tones that were actually kind of foresounding about how we had shown that creepy Milo Pressmen we weren't just another bunch of pussies. I told how the guy at the Florida market had tried to jap us, and then we fell into gloomy silence thinking it over. For my part, I was thinking that maybe there was something to that stupid Goocher business after all. Things couldn't have turned out much worse. In fact, I thought it might have been better to keep going and spare my folks the pain of having one son in Castle View Cemetery and one in South Wyndham Boys Correctional. I had no doubt that Milo would go to the cops as soon as the importance of the dump having been closed at the time of the incident filtered into his thick skull. When that happened, he would realize that I really had been trespassing a public property or not. Probably the grave probably that gave him every right in the world to sick his stupid dog at me. And while Chopper wasn't the hellhound he was cracked up to be, he sure would have ripped the sit down out of my jeans if he hadn't won the race to the fence. All of it put a dark crimp in my day. And there was another gloomy idea rolling around inside my head. The idea that the idea that this was no lark after all, and maybe we deserved our bad luck. Maybe it was even God warning us to go home. What we were doing anyway, going to look at some kid that had gotten himself all mashed up by a freight train. But we were doing it, and none of us wanted to stop. We had almost reached the trestle which carried the tracks across the river when Teddy burst into tears. It was as if a great inner tidal wave had broken through a carefully constructed set of mental dikes. No BS. It was that sudden and that fierce. The sobs doubled him over like punches, and he sort of collapsed into a heap, his hands going from his stomach to the mutilated gobs of flesh that were the remains of his ears. He went on crying in hard, violent bursts. None of us knew what the frick to do. It wasn't crying like when you got hit by a line drive while you were playing shortstop or smashed on the head, playing tackle football, on the common or when you fell off your bike. There was nothing physically wrong with him. We walked away a little and watched him, our hands in our pockets. Hey man, Vern said in a very thin voice. Chris and I looked at Vern hopefully. Hey man was always a good start, but Vern couldn't follow it up. Teddy leaned forward into the crosties and put a hand over his eyes. Now he looked like he was doing the Allah bit. Salami, salami, bout, baloney, as Popeye said. Except it wasn't funny. At last, when the force of his crying had trailed off a little, it was Chris who went to him. He was a tough guy in the gang, maybe even tougher than Jamie Gallant, I thought privately. But he was also the guy who made the best piece. He had a way about it. It seen him sit down on the curb next to a little kid with a scraped knee, a kid he didn't even freaking know, and getting him talking about something. The Shrine Circus that was coming to town, or Huckleberry Hound on TV, until the kid found he was supposed to be hurt. Chris was good at it. He was tough enough to be good at it. Listen, Teddy. What do you care about a fat old pile of like him talking about your father? Huh? I mean, sincerely, that doesn't change nothing, does it? What a fat old piece pile of like him says, huh? Huh? Does it? Teddy shook his head violently. It changed nothing. But to hear it spoken off in bright daylights, something he must have gone over and over in his mind while he was lying awake in bed and looking at the moon offsetter in one window pane. Something he must have thought about it in his slow and broken way until it seemed almost holy, trying to make sense out of it. And then to have it brought home to him that everybody else had merely dismissed his dad as a loony that had rocked him, but it changed nothing. Nothing. He still roared the beach at Normandy, right? Chris said. He picked up one of Teddy's sweaty, grimy hands and patted it. Teddy nodded fiercely, crying. Snot was running out of his nose. Do you think that pile of was at Normandy? Teddy shook his head violently. Nuh-uh, no. Do you think that guy knows you? Nuh-uh, nah, no, but, or your father? He one of your father's buddy? No, angry, horrified. The thought, Teddy's chest heaved and more sobs came out. He had pushed his hair away from his ears, and I could see the round, brown plastic button of hearing aid set in the middle of his right one. The shape of hearing aid made more sense than the shape of his ear, if you get what I mean, Chris said calmly. Talk is cheap, Teddy nodded, still not looking up. And whatever is between you and your old man, talk can't change that. Teddy's head shook without definition, unsure if this was true. Someone had redefined his pain and redefined it in shockingly common terms that would, loony, have been examined frickin' Section 8 later in depth. On long sleepless nights, Chris rocked him. Who was ranking you, man? He said in soothing cadences. They were almost a lullaby. He was trying to rank you over the frickin' fence, you know? No strain, man. No frickin' strain. He don't know nothing about your old man. He don't know nothing about stuff he heard from those rum-dums down at Mellow Tiger. He's just right? Teddy? Huh? Right? Teddy's crying was down to sniffles. He wiped his eyes, leaving two snotty rings around them, and sat up. I'm okay, he said, and the sound of his own voice seemed to convince him. Yeah, I'm okay. He stood up and put his glasses back on, dressing like dressed as dressed his naked face. It seemed to me. He laughed thinly and swiped his bare arm across the snot of his upper lip. Frickin' crybaby, right? No, man, Vern said uncomfortably. If anyone was ranking out my dad, then you've got to kill them, Teddy said briskly, almost arrogantly. Kill their asses, right, Chris? Right, Chris said, amiably, and clapped Teddy on the back. Right, Gordy? Absolutely, I said, wondering how Teddy could care so much for his dad when his dad had practically killed him, and how I couldn't see him, how I couldn't seem to give more of a one way or another about my own dad when, so far as I could remember, he never laid a hand on me since I was 3 and got some bleach from under the sink and started to eat it. We walked another 200 yards down the tracks, and Teddy said in a quieter voice, Hey, if I spoiled your good time, I'm sorry. I guess that was pretty stupid back there at that fence. I ain't sure I want it to be. I ain't sure I want it to be no good time, Vern said suddenly. Chris looked at him. You saying you want to go back, man? No, Vern's face nodded in thought. But going to see a dead kid, it shouldn't be a party, maybe. I mean, if you can dig it. I mean, he looked at us rather wildly. I mean, I could be a little scared if you get me. Nobody said anything and Verg plunged on. I mean, sometimes I get nightmares like, oh, you guys remember that the time Danny Naughton left a pile of old funny books? The ones with vampires and people getting cut up all that stuff. Jeez and crow, I'd wake up in the middle of the night dreaming about some guy hanging in the house with his face all green or something, like that. And it seemed like there's something under the bed, and if I dangled a hand over the side, that might, grab me. We all began to nod. We knew about we knew about the night shift. I would have laughed then through, though, if you had told me one day, not too many years from then, I'd parley all those childhood fears, the night sweats, into about $1 million. And I don't dare say anything because my friggin' brother, well, Billy, he'd broadcast it. He'd shrug miserably. So I'm a scarred. So I'm a scarred. What? So I'm a scarred to look at that kid, because if he's, you know, if he's really bad. I swallowed and glanced at Chris. He was looking gravely at Vern and nodded for him to go on. If he's really bad, Vern resumed, I'll have nightmares about him and wake up thinking it's him under my bed and cut up in a pool of blood like he just came He just came out of one of those Salad Master gadgets they show on TV. Just eyeballs and hair, but moving somehow. If you dig that, moving somehow, and getting ready to grab. Jesus Christ, Teddy said thickly. What a frickin' bedtime story. Well, I can't help it, Vern said, his voice defensive. But I feel like we have to see him, even if there are bad dreams. You know? Like we have to. But maybe it shouldn't be no good time. Yeah, Chris said softly. Maybe it shouldn't. Vernon said pleadingly. You won't tell none of the older guys, will you? I don't mean about the nightmares. Everything has those. I mean about waking up and thinking there might be something under the bed. I'm too friggin' old for the boogeyman. We all said we wouldn't tell, and a gloom silence fell over us again. It was only 2:45, but it felt much later. It was too hot and too much happened. We weren't even over Harlow yet. We were going to have to pick them up and lay down if we were going to make some real miles before dark. We passed the railroad junction and a signal on all tall rusty pole, and all of us paused to chuck cinders at the steel flag on top, but nobody hit it. And around 3:30 we came to the Castle River and the GS and WM trestle which crossed it. Okay. How many how many pages did I read? So I started at page 64 and I ended at 76. Alrighty, look at this, guys. We were almost halfway. Can you guys believe that? Like, this is how much we've read. This is how much we have left. We are making progress. We are making progress. Today's a big day for me. So I'm just setting my prayers that everything will go well and that everything will work out. Because I have been practicing a lot, and yeah, so just please God, if you're watching this or if you're hearing this, need to I need to pass this test. That's it, that's all. I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace.